guest host again.
Guest host.
For the second
Featuring
time.
more and more these days.
We're not talking about that. No, it's lovely to have you here.
Thanks.
We've got a jam-packed episode as always.
I've heard.
I've got my little running order here.
No.
Hello and welcome, that's this bit.
Okay.
We're
doing that.
Did you
if you haven't realised the camera's on.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Did you go to the Eckington celebration yesterday?
I did.
How was it?
Yeah, it was good. I really enjoyed it. I think it was nice to have so many people there and celebrating, and
Yes.
felt almost Christmassy. It was very festive at the Eckington building, wasn't it?
Yes, I enjoyed it. My favourite bit was the soup afterwards, because I love food, and the carrot soup that Sharon
nothing
made
to do
was
the service
so good.
at all.
Yeah, well, no, but it was just nice to have food together again, wasn't it? Like, we've not done that properly. We've had packed lunches in the field and things over summer, but we've not actually had a meal
together.
And that felt special to me.
No, it was lovely. It was
So
really nice to have
that was
together.
my favourite bit. Are you looking forward to Christmas?
Yeah, I am. I get to actually go down and visit my family this year. Which will be nice.
Cool. Yeah. I knew that already. I don't know why I acted surprised. So just for the dramatic effect of the camera. So where do you live? Where did you come from, David? Tell us.
Near Watford, down south in London.
Yeah. So, basically just London, innit?
Yeah, it's all one big area in London. Yeah, it'll be really nice.
When did you go there?
Later this month, 22nd, 23rd, something like that. Close to Christmas.
Do you have any weird Christmas traditions that you want to share
Weird
with us
Christmas
or anything like that?
Since I've left, right? Not over this, by the way. So this is me processing this.
Yeah,
Since I've left, I have two younger siblings, and now they do a Christmas Eve box where they all get like presents on Christmas Eve, and they're all like pajamas and hot chocolate and all these bits. We just used to watch The Snowman.
I think this is more of a thing nowadays.
Yeah,
I'm looking at John, but he's not giving anything. That people open a present on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, I didn't know it was a thing.
This is not a thing.
This has happened in the last few years since I've left anyway. I mean, last year I did get sent pyjamas, to be fair. But
I want to know if you open a present on Christmas Eve, let me know if this actually is a thing or whether it's just starting to be a thing.
Or whether you watch the Polar Express.
Or whether you watch the Polar Express on Christmas Eve.
We watch the Snowman every year. It never gets any better.
I don't have any Christmas traditions really, no.
What are you doing at Christmas?
We have a cooked breakfast on Christmas morning, which I feel like is a weird thing. People don't usually do that, but that's what my family did. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yes.
But we have a lot coming up over the Christmas period at the Oaks. Do you want to share about wreath making over in Eckington?
I can share about wreath making. On the 18th, Saturday the 18th, we have wreath making over in Eckington. We're asking people to book on and come along and make some wreaths together. We'll have some conversations and different bits, but asking people in church to bring a friend and just have some fun making them. I think it good.
Yeah, we did that over here in Drumfield a couple of years ago, and it went down really well. So we wish you all the best for that, and we'll be praying it goes well. We've got the Blue Christmas service here in Drumfield on Friday, the 17th, I think. It'll be on the screen, it's fine. At 2 o'clock. That'll be really good. If there's anyone you know that's had a tough year, I mean, who hasn't had a tough year? But anyone that's struggling at this time of year, tell them about that. It would be good for them to get along. And we've got Christmas Eve round the campfire. Yeah. I'm very excited about this.
I'm very, very excited about this.
Obviously, there's not going to be, I feel I should not have to say this, but there'll be, it's a disclaimer across the bottom. There will not be a real campfire, don't worry.
I'm not coming then.
There will be a fake campfire, but it'll be like bring your own blanket, we're having hot chocolate, more wine.
Sounds very cosy.
It will be cosy, and we've got some very creative people making the campfire look as real as possible, so I'm very, very excited for that. So join us for that if you're able to. Is there anything else?
I don't think there's too much else.
No,
there's a few Christmas events here and there, Christmas services, and as we build up to this time of year, but looking forward to it.
Great. Right, let's move on then. We've got a hot topic coming up this episode and our hot gospel. We've got a good hot gospel this week. Hot topic, sorry. Because the youth joined us. Ooh. We had a bit of an impromptu session with this. Robin, who was our speaker this week on the Bible Talk, couldn't actually come for the interview. So Jack, Josh and Hannah joined us on what they deem leadership is. So it's very, very interesting. So I'm looking forward to that. We've got a few more notices and a worship song to include as well. So we'll move on to that now. everyone, and welcome to this week's Hot Topic. Robin has done a Bible talk this week on what Jesus said about leadership. And we're doing things a little bit differently because you may notice we've got 3 young, beautiful people with us today.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Hannah, it's rude, isn't it? Rude. This is Hannah.
Hello.
Jack.
Hello.
And Josh. Hopefully you've seen them all before on other episodes. You're here, we've discussed that, we've primed you, that's why you're holding paper, isn't it? Because they've written down 5 characteristics that they believe makes a good leader.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to share first?
Hannah?
Yeah. So I've put
Just say one at a time. Go round,
okay.
say one each. Say one each.
Understanding.
Responsible.
Teamwork.
Now, Julie and I haven't heard these, so I'm really hoping that they're all as good as that and all sensible.
Yeah, they are.
Looking at you, Josh.
So done with this. Anyway, please continue.
So, you said understanding,
Yeah.
responsible,
Teamwork.
and teamwork. And do you want to explain what you mean by understanding, Hannah?
Yeah. So I feel like if someone comes up to a leader with a problem or an issue or anything, or if they've just had a bad day, then I feel like the leader needs to understand and just be caring towards what they're going through or just whatever they're feeling.
That's a good one. Thank you, Jack.
Well, if you're a leader, you kind of have to be responsible because you're a team leader.
Yeah,
And
makes
that's the
sense.
main part, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Nice, simple.
Yeah.
Josh?
Teamwork is the heart of a leader. That's it. That's all I have to say.
They're quite good.
You
Do you
delivered
agree,
it very
Julia?
powerfully.
I agree with those.
Yeah?
Thank you.
I think they're good. And I think what you said, Hannah, is good as well, because actually sometimes leaders aren't understanding, are they?
Mm.
Do you have any examples of where maybe...
David.
No. No. Is that a good example? You're saying David is understanding?
No.
Oh, I thought we weren't going to name anyone. We had that discussion.
We
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
Anyway,
So, we'll
Carry
edit
on.
that
moving
bit.
on. Oh, you always edit the best bits out. Anyway,
No, yeah.
So, do you have any examples of where someone has been understanding or responsible or shown teamwork or not in your life?
Yes.
one. Myself. obviously.
David.
Oh, great. Here we go.
Jack?
No, he's
Come
good.
on.
That's good.
Oh, right. In what way? What did he do?
Because, like, he's always just helping run youth group. Even when people are messing around, he's still like, oh, come on, just...
Simmer down, kids.
Yeah, exactly. But he doesn't, like, tell people off.
Yeah, he's good at that.
Okay, so he's understanding.
He
Yes.
is. He's very understanding, man.
Hannah, anything?
I think you're very understanding. Not saying it just because you said that.
I'll pay
Just
a
Yeah, so-
But I feel like if someone...
How much did you have to pay?
Yeah, exactly.
If someone maybe isn't their self, that maybe they've not said anything, I feel like you always come up to them and should we have a little chat?
Okay.
Should we talk about anything? And
So, like, because I notice that
yeah,
they're not
yeah,
themselves, I see
yeah.
what you mean.
You're really good at just getting them to talk about what
Okay.
they're thinking. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad I'm okay at that. I'm not really say that was my massive strong suit in life, so that's encouraging that you've noticed it. I think as a leader, I'm a youth leader with these guys, so that's what you guys are talking about. You are always kind of on the lookout to make sure that you lot are okay. Obviously, school's can be quite difficult, can't it, and things, so you kind of watching to see if you're behaving a little bit differently today or if something might have happened. So that's probably why. But yeah.
Good.
Whether that transfers into every area of life, I don't know. Be interesting to see, won't it? And Josh, anything you can think of?
What, a specific person?
No, just an example.
Of
or,
what?
or a bad or a good example of a leader that's shown teamwork or not shown teamwork.
I suppose if there was a football team and there was the team captain wouldn't pass to any of the other players, that's quite a bad leader because he's not sharing out the work. He thinks that because he's the leader, he can just do everything himself. When a good leader should share it out and sort of help the other members of the team to get better at what they're doing. Just because the leader might be the best at it, it doesn't mean they should do everything. They should allow the other members of the team to flow.
That's good.
That's a very good point.
That is a good point. So I suppose when Robin did his talk, I've wrote down some things that Robin said. He talked about serving, how Jesus said a good leader will serve.
Now, yeah, if we look at Matthew chapter 20, verse 26, Jesus says, "But among you, it will be different. Whoever wants to be a leader among you must be your servant." And in Luke chapter 22, verse 26, Jesus also says, "But it is not this way with you. The one who is the greatest among you must become like the youngest, and the leader like the servant."
What do you think to that?
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
they will.
Do you think that's what leaders are like in the world? If we talk about earlier,
No.
before we started filming, you mentioned Next or Primark, didn't you?
Yeah.
As leaders there. What do you think the leaders of those companies are probably like? I mean, we don't know, do we?
Yeah, like,
God.
like they're probably very wealthy and they're like, oh, bossy probably. Just because maybe but they're probably really nice, but you'd think that if they had that much money, maybe like the power like goes to their head or something. And they,
Yeah, I don't think they would care about each individual
yeah.
member.
They don't
of
know
the team.
all of them by
Exactly.
name.
However, God did know all of his people by name, so that shows that God is the best leader.
Better than the Primark. I mean.
Exactly.
That's good. Yeah. So Robin spoke about that, about Jesus being a leader and how he, served and trusted God and listened to God and put him first. Obviously, I don't know, Julia, have you had experienced a leader in your life and in work? I'm looking at John as well because he obviously worked. We spoke to John before about his working life, haven't we?
Yeah.
And how that was probably quite different to this style of leadership that we spoke about today.
Yeah.
Julia, is there anything you want to add to that, like about working life and things?
I think, you have to be careful in a kind of a church environment to not take on that kind of running it like a business. I don't think that's helpful at all. And I think leadership styles have really changed over the years, massively over the last few decades. But if you kind of look at the way Jesus sort of led his disciples, and he brought them along, didn't he, and he apprenticed them, and he specifically says, as a leader, you don't lord it over people. So there's nothing special about us. We've all got giftings and qualities in it, and it's looking out for those things and drawing those things out, and not like you were saying about getting power going to your head. That's not helpful, and it's certainly not Christian. It's about awareness and bringing people along on a journey with you, not bossing them about. Nobody likes to be bossed about. And you often see it in films and things, don't you, where you get a horrendous boss and you're sort of cringing there for the staff. But, it can be, if you get distracted or really busy, it can be easy to not notice somebody or speak sharply to somebody because your mind's on other things. And it's those little personal characteristics you have to watch out for.
Yeah, because in the talk, Robin talks about all of us being leaders of ourselves, at least, this being a good leader isn't just about the head of a company or, the leader of a team at school or a captain on a football team. This is something that we can all take on.
If we're all leaders, then no one's a leader.
What do you mean, Josh? Explain that.
Well, it's like saying if you give everyone £1, then no one's actually got any richer.
So what do you think then? Do you think that we're not all leaders?
Yeah, I think not everyone can be a leader. It's a gift that some people have and other people don't have.
Okay, and so how do you know if you're gifted?
You look down your list of leadership skills and you think, oh, well, I do have good teamwork, but I'm not at all responsible. That would go for Jack here, so that defines that he's not a leader.
Oh, I think you're
I'm only
right,
joking, Jack's a great leader, but you see my point.
So you don't think that God would say that we can all lead in some way, though? Like you might not be called to, lead a business, but you can definitely lead in your home, and you might be able to lead within your friendship group. So at home at the moment, who is your leader or leaders?
Father and mother.
Yeah, so there was a bit of an intake of breath there. I was thinking, what are they going to say? Buddy the dog or something. Yes, Jack.
You have to respect your leaders, so, to
Yeah.
call them mum and dad, it's quite disrespectful.
Right, so mother and father,
Yeah,
at
exactly.
home, or parental figure,
Yes.
because everyone might not have mother and father. It might be father, it might be grandparent, whoever. They are your leaders in that arena, aren't they?
Yes.
But at school, do you think that you can help lead your group of friends in the way they do things? Like, say if your group of friends were like going to bully a kid at school, hopefully you guys won't join in.
Yeah.
How do you think, Josh?
Unless
No,
it's
you won't
Josh.
join in. What
No,
would you
yeah,
do?
of course
Like,
not. Why would you bully someone? That's disrespectful.
So how can you lead in that situation?
You can say to your friends, hold on guys, this is not a nice thing to do. Look at this poor child here. He does not want to be bullied, so why are we bullying them? Can we do something different?
Yeah. So you might not be, I get what you're saying, a gifting. And I do think some people are gifted in different things, aren't they? And in the Bible it talks about like being a body of Christ. Do you want to explain that, Julie? Because I'm not sure like, as in we all have different roles, don't we?
Yeah.
To play.
Yeah, in the Bible we're often, they use the metaphor of the body, and each of us are part of that body. So, you know, you might be a thumb, you might be a leg, and you might be an eye. But basically we've all got a function. So Jesus is the head of the body.
You've set them off now, that's it.
You're a big toe. And, you know, people don't take big toe seriously, but actually if you lose your big toe, you can fall over. They're really, really important.
Yeah.
So it's very important that each of us take our place in as a body, as a family in the church, because without each of us, each of our bits, we don't function properly. And it's only when all those bits
You've lost them now.
all those bits come together, the body of Christ, that's when people see Jesus, and that's because we're reflecting him.
Okay, I've got.
Oh, yeah.
Let's divert this giggling. Yeah. I've got a question for you from Miss. How do you think that as a church we should be different in having leaders than, like I say, a big company like Next or Primark or something?
Because there's probably not as many people coming to your church than there are buying like or working at Primark.
No, that's true. But as in, what should we do differently? Because if we're all equal, we're all children of God. We've already spoke about that today. How it's like, you know, if everyone has a role to play and no role is less important than each other. You know, when you guys make a mess down here at youth group, and I'm like, we need to clean up, don't we?
Yeah.
Because it's our responsibility to clean up. It's not Sandy's responsibility to come in the next day, is it, and clean up after us. Do you know what I mean? Even though Sandy is our cleaner, she does a fantastic job. But it's not, we're not here to make mess for Sandy to clean up, are we? It's like a responsibility. Do you know what I mean? So how do you think we can be different? Obviously that's one way. I've just given you an example without meaning to, but what do you think? What do you think about it?
Maybe just that we could all be the leaders all together. So all of us, not just one. So then we do all these different things and help clean up, help lead, help just do this. And not just one person doing it. So like in Primark, one person might be on tills, but then we could just all help and all do everything.
Yeah. Okay. Go on, Josh.
I think that if everyone tries to lead at the same thing, it wouldn't work. So we need leaders in all different things. Because if you go on the Primark example, if everyone is working on till 5, it's going to be a bit crowded, and all the customers who want to go to till 3 aren't going to get served. So we should have people working at all the different tills or in like doing all different jobs, leading all different people. So there can be like a range of people. And if you think, oh, I'm really struggling with mental health, oh, I know who to go to. Oh, I'm really struggling with my work, I know who to go to. So it's like every person's a leader at something. So it's like each person has their specific thing that they know they're good at, that they can then use that skill to become a leader of that certain thing.
So who decides that? How do we decide it? What Jack's good at will be different to what Hannah's good at.
Yes.
Will be different to what I'm good at. So how do we know that? How do we know what we're good at, and how do I find out what I need to be doing and taking responsibility for?
Good question.
You could like try lots of different things, and then you'll realise that, oh right, this is what I really like doing, and then you can do that. Because say if you're just sweeping the floor, you might not enjoy doing that. But if you're wiping the windows, you might go, oh wait, I really like doing this, and I'm quite good at it.
So you guys have served, aren't you? Like Jack, you've done refreshments before. Josh, you've done meet and greet,
Yes.
and you've both done a good job at playing in the band. You
Yeah.
obviously want to do that more, don't you?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So out of those, and I'm pretty sure I know which one you're going to say you enjoyed most. I'm not naive in this, but did you enjoy serving in those ways? What did
Yes.
you enjoy about
Yeah.
it? How do you think you led in those situations?
Jack?
Yeah, it was good. I don't know what to say. It was
I
nice.
don't know. I don't think everything is leading.
Yeah.
You could say, oh, playing in the band is leading, but it's not.
In what way?
You can't just say, oh, yeah, everything is leadership.
Or else
Like, I know that's the theme of this week. I'm
everyone
kind of
is-
ruining your point here,
You're
but
not
like,
ruining it. It's
but
good.
like,
It's
but you
good.
can't just go around saying, oh, I'm picking up pen lids off the floor and putting them on. That's not leading. It's a
But I
different
think you're
thing.
leading yourself. That's what I'm saying. We're talking about different types of leadership, aren't we?
But then no one's a follower. Because if everyone's a leader, then how can
Go on,
anyone be
Julius.
followers?
I'm just recalling a story I had. It's second-hand, but it was a very, very, very senior man. In fact, I think he was Lord somebody or other, and he was delivering a talk at a business conference, so it's nothing to do with church. And I think he was working in a hospital. It's not like senior man of a hospital. And he was asked who his sort of role model was, and he said it's Jesus. And he would walk around the hospital and he'd talk to anybody, didn't matter who it was, and he'd be polite and interested. And if he saw litter on the floor, he'd pick it up because he felt that he was no different to anybody else.
Yeah.
So, there was no reason why he should walk past litter and expect somebody else to pick that up. And so he was being an example. So just the way he lived his life was an example to others, and it was also very respectful. And so, yes, he was a very senior man carrying out a senior role, but he never lost sight of the fact that we're all a family and all have equal value. I thought that was really good.
Yeah.
Because you guys are quite young. I mean, people think I'm young, but you guys are even younger. It's not nice when people treat you like you're a kid, is it? Do you know what I mean? Like when it's like you don't know what you're
I'd
doing.
rather not pay like taxes,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you know.
I also agree with that one. But as in, if everyone treated you, like,
Yeah.
obviously there has to be boundaries. You know this with me when you're running around on the chairs and I'm like, Josh, Jack, stop with that. There has to be boundaries in that. We're not saying that, but if everyone treated you respectfully, that would be a better place, wouldn't it?
Yes.
So that's what
Yeah.
Julia's on about with that guy. If he'd have walked in here, he wouldn't have looked down on you for being young, because Jesus wouldn't, would he? He said, about children. He was very fond of children. Like he said, these are the people that get into the kingdom of heaven. Be like children. So how can we as adults be better leaders in that sense, in terms of treating you? What's some more of these leadership things that you've written on your list?
Respect for the
team,
team.
yeah.
Okay.
We wrote the same thing.
Respect for the team, yeah.
That's mad.
Did you confirm?
No.
Despite me saying don't.
We just
No, we
we're
didn't.
just built different. We're just like totally in sync.
Brainwaves.
Go on, Hannah. What else have you got?
Creative.
Oh, go on then. Touch on that one.
I feel like, I was kind of thinking of being like in the youth group and stuff. We
Okay.
kind of have to be like creative, thinking of ideas to do and things that we could just like, do that week.
No, but I think that's true of leaders, of all of us as well. Sorry, Josh, we're ruining your thing. We do have to be creative, don't we? God calls us to be creative, so that's a great one.
Yeah.
Anyone got any more?
Yeah. Honesty.
Responsible. Oh, someone. Yeah.
I said
Honesty's
that
a
already.
better one.
Honesty.
Yeah.
You can't lie. You can't say like, oh, I'll give you loads of money for doing this. Then you only give them no money at all.
That's true.
Very true.
That's true. Very true, yeah.
You kind of got to be honest with what you're teaching as well. Can't be going like just talking about something else that they don't believe as well.
And being kind.
Have you guys written the same?
No.
No, we haven't. We haven't.
So what do you think to Robin's bit where he said, trust God and listen to God, put him first? That's what Robin said makes a good leader.
Put God first. Yeah.
You agree?
Yeah.
But yeah, and that really is the key to being a good leader, whether you're in actual traditional leadership where you're running a company, a church or country or whatever, like it all comes down to it all comes down to your trust in God. You listen to God. You can have all the right qualities. You can have a kind, serving heart. You can stand up to injustice. You can be honest and compassionate. But if you don't trust in God, if you don't listen to God, if you don't put God first, ultimately you will fail. And it's clear from just reading about Jesus throughout the Bible and everything Jesus says and does that this is key.
What do you think happens if
But
you
why
don't?
has that got anything to do with being a leader?
Why has it?
I don't know. It's just a general life thing, isn't it?
I don't know, is it?
Yeah.
Well, what happens if you don't? And you're a leader?
If you don't do that, well then you're not. You're then. That's not good, is it?
No.
But it didn't have anything to do with being a leader.
No?
No.
Oh, right. You're going to tell Robin?
Yes, I will.
Yeah, right.
I'll
You
have
follow
words
that
with
up.
him.
You follow that up.
Yeah. No, I think these are all great tips on how to be a good person. But that doesn't make you a leader.
Mm. So what makes you a leader? What with God in the picture?
Yeah.
Because all of these characteristics that you've said could be someone who's not a Christian, couldn't they?
Yeah.
So what separates Joe Bloggs, who's a good leader, to being someone who is called to be a leader by God? What makes them different? That's what I think we need to bring to the table to finish with. How do we know that God's calling this person to be a leader and they're not just got the personality of it, because all of these things that we've mentioned are kind of personality traits as well, aren't they? Obviously being honest is just good for anybody, to be honest, all of us, but there are definitely people, aren't they, that you can see and you think they are a leader, like they just take charge in a situation. They make you feel safe or something, don't they, in a certain scenario or whatever. But what makes them a leader with God, not just a leader in general? Tell me what you think. You don't know?
Nope.
Do you know? What makes us different? No, but I'm asking myself this question, because everything they've said is great, but really,
But it's not.
no, it is great. But it could just be someone who's not a Christian, really, couldn't it?
Yeah, it could.
Well, the difference is then some are Christian, some are not.
Because they've got God. But you'd hope that if we've got God in our lives, it would be significant.
Yes.
In it, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I agree.
But I'm trying to have the conversation that I don't know what.
I don't know what you're asking. What's your question?
Well, what makes us leaders with God rather than just a good leader in general?
Well, if you have a relationship with God.
Yeah.
Right.
But what makes that different to just someone? Like, why does that change us? How do we be good leaders? Better leaders than just someone who's respectful, loyal, understanding, got good teamwork? What separates us from just your average leader in the world?
Because if you're your average leader, then you're just doing it by yourself and you're like in charge. You're like the only person doing this like journey. Obviously, you got your team with you, but you're like the leader of the team. You kind of just got to, they'll probably come and ask you for guidance, but you might struggle to ask someone else for guidance. Because if you've got God, He's like the leader of the leader.
The leader of the leader.
Super
leader.
Yeah,
super
exactly.
Leader. I think that's very good, Josh. I agree.
I suppose in normal human terms, if we're a leader in a business setting, then you can be really gifted and you can have all the lovely qualities of being honest and what have you, and creative and all those things. But if you don't have a relationship with God, you're doing it out of your own strength, like you were saying.
Yeah.
And we're all broken people, so somewhere along the line, things might go a bit amiss. So you might be doing it because you just want to be a multimillionaire. And there are lots around, but that's not necessarily what God is asking of you. So it's that relationship with God, and it's what He wants, because He wants the best for us. He guides us and helps us with our decision making and who we identify to get alongside and why we do things. And it's that kind of not gender, but it's what's the reasoning behind we do things.
Yeah.
And it's to love others, isn't it? And to bring people to Christ and that sort of thing. So it's
I think you're right. I
motivation.
think you're right, Josh. And Julie's added to it that it's that like priorities and values would hopefully be different with God in our lives.
Yes.
All of these are good characteristics, but the decisions that we make having those characteristics would hopefully be different if we were trying to love each other and love God.
Yeah.
Is that what
Yeah,
we'd
yeah,
say?
that's fine.
Is that
That's
a good
good.
consensus?
That's
Yeah.
a nice finale.
And I think Robin he gives some examples, and he talks about David
Yeah.
in his talk and Moses, and saying it doesn't matter what your age is, and you don't have to be perfect. No one's perfect. We will all make mistakes, and even those guys that in the Old Testament we'd look at and think they were amazing leaders, they all made terrible mistakes through their lives. But because we've got God, it's okay. We can go back to Him, and He will forgive us and set us back off on a straight line.
You didn't have anything about age on there. Do you think anyone
No.
of any age can be a leader?
Well, no.
You don't?
No.
Well, if you're
3
6
years old.
months old.
Goo goo
Alright,
gaga.
alright.
Oh wow, prophetic. Oh, it's amazing. No.
Alright.
you can't be
What age can
responsible.
you be
This
a
is my
leader?
point. Not everyone
Right.
can be a leader. 10 and above.
Yeah, I'm going to say
10 and
10,
above.
yeah.
You heard it here. That's
Any
If
of
you're
you
6 years old and you're watching this,
You are
stop
not a
watching
leader.
it.
So 10 years old on your 10th birthday.
Well, no,
No,
not
no,
necessarily.
like,
It's around.
around
Oh,
that. You
this
don't
is
need-
pathetic now. you're just twisting my
Questioning
words.
every word.
You
I
are.
thought, Hannah, what do you think? How old can you be? How old can a leader be?
Any age.
You think any age?
I
No, you
think any age. Not like a
Not
baby.
obviously.
Well, when do
But-
you stop being a baby?
Yeah,
then?
exactly.
At what age?
Because if you're 5, I wouldn't call you a leader, really.
No.
I feel like any age, if you're with God, I think He can like make the decisions.
I feel like it's if a 5 it's very unlikely for a 5-year-old to be able to speak amazing of what English or whatever, and say amazing words and lead an entire team. I mean, it's probably possible, but that's the only reason why I said probably not someone below the age of 10, simply because they're much less likely to have
And
all
listen
of
to what
these
God's saying
values.
as well.
Exactly, they just don't get it as much. And under 20 is the same. They won't make as good of a leader just because they don't have as much experience. And someone who's been on earth for 80 years has a lot more experience and wisdom than someone who's been on the earth for 8 years. So technically, if a 1-year-old is capable of speaking, great, saying great words and doing all the things written here, honesty, teamwork, responsible, kind, all these things, then great, they're a perfect leader. And if there's someone who's 80 who's just an idiot, then they're not a good leader.
Yeah, okay.
But
So there's an element of experience.
yeah, it's technically it's not about age, but it correlates with age based on how
experience.
and how experienced and how good at these things you are based on all your experiences.
So really, a team, we would say to finish, hopefully, that we agree on this, because I feel like this is the consensus that we've come to in today's discussion. A leader has to have these characteristics that we've discussed. They have to have some life experience, but not necessarily a certain age.
Yeah.
So a team of leaders might be best built up of a mixture of older people, younger people, male, female, people who've had different life experiences. So that, like today, they could bounce off each other.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Is that what
I would
we're
agree.
kind of...
Yeah, the different life experiences definitely a good
Because
point.
if you have one person in charge, we've already established, they could go down their own path. If
Power hungry, tyrant leader.
Thanos.
Thanos, yeah. That's a good... Because we're divulging now. John probably might cut this out, I don't know.
They definitely will. I know
These
what
guys
he's like.
we've all seen the Avengers movies,
Yes.
haven't we? And you
Yeah.
just mentioned Thanos. Why is Thanos a bad leader, Jack?
Because he wants to kill half the people who are alive. It's
But
not
why do
very
you want
good
to do
leader.
that?
To balance
For
things out.
for himself.
No, it wasn't
He
for
wants to-
himself. It was 'cause,
He wants to balance things
He wanted
out.
to have. They basically
Equal.
thought that overpopulation was a massive problem. So he's actually had some decent ideas. This
But
Thanos
not
guy, right?
killing
Yeah, maybe
Most of
what
the
he should have
people.
done is actually no, I'll probably, no. I kind of
Go on.
I might get cancelled, so I'm not going to say anything.
We'll cut this
too
bit out
bad.
anyway, just
you
say
will,
it.
You're going to cut right.
Get
So
cancelled.
He's already
Cancel
stopped recording
culture.
now.
hold
Go
on,
on, Josh, you
the
can do
two-child policy in China is actually a sound idea
Okay.
to combat overpopulation.
Then I wouldn't exist.
Oh well.
But do you not think, after everything we've said today about leadership, that it's up to the personal's responsibility?
Yeah, but if you go around, oh, it's my personal responsibility, I was to just make 10 babies.
What if you have
it's kinda
triplets? What if you have
not
triplets?
well, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
what
all right.
actually? You're in China. What happens if you have triplets?
Anyway, we've dived. I don't know. You must
Ask
be able to have
John.
them because I don't know if John will.
Did actually?
We'll try and find out.
We've talked to
They
this.
get killed.
No, Josh.
What? This is what that didn't happen anymore. Luckily, because they're in the.
But Thanos was a
Child
good
murderer.
example.
of a-
Anyone
of a-
watching who's watched
yeah.
Avengers, because Thanos started off all right. He was trying to do good, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But he got corrupt.
He had good ideas, but went about them in the wrong way.
Exactly, which could happen to all of us without God. So
Yes.
that's a really good example to finish on that most people won't know
Yeah,
what we're on about.
Josh.
Julia's like straight over your head, isn't it?
Yeah, but I get the drift.
You get the drift.
Yeah.
Very good.
Total annihilation of half the population.
Yeah, it's orcs that.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that's what God would have chosen.
No, exactly.
No. Well,
Probably
But
not.
it
No.
does
I mean, he did
provide
flood the
argu-
whole world to like
Kill
get rid of all the
everyone.
bad
provides the
people. So,
argument of our responsibility, which we've already spoke
yeah.
about. Jack's fed up now. Should we call it a day then?
Yes.
Yes. Thanks for watching.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
We'll
Thank
go
you.
into the hot gospel now.
Yep.
But thank you so much. That was very good.
Very thought provoking.
Very thoughtful.
I have more to say.
But to do with Christmas, Advent,
Is it a thing?
how do you feel about it? Because we were having this conversation, me and John, that I am convinced that actually we don't really know what Advent is. Do you really know what Advent is?
Yeah, absolutely.
John was outraged at me not knowing what Advent was, so we did a bit of research and we found a video that explains the history of Advent, particularly Advent calendars, because who doesn't love an Advent calendar at this time of year?
Everybody
Chocolate.
loves an advent calendar.
Yeah, I mean, one of my friends from DNA has actually got an Advent calendar this year that's rubber ducks.
That is very
Have you
impressive.
seen it?
Yeah, today's was a Christmas tree rubber duck.
I mean,
I've been checking in
that's
every day,
yeah,
if I'm
me
honest.
too. Yeah, our friends posting about it on Facebook, keeping us all updated on what they are. But that's like fantastic. But also,
Very original.
where does this come from? I want to know. So we sent John on a hunt to find out. So this is a video we found, and we hope that you find it useful too.
Hello, and welcome to History with Henry. I'm your host, Henry Notle, and today we're going to be delving into the festive tradition that is the Advent calendar. As early as October, many shops will start to sell these chocolate-filled countdown devices. And in more recent years, there's been a trend towards themed calendars, with everything from beer to beauty products, from Lego to ladies' nail polish, and now, the cheese Advent calendar. 'Tis the season to be jolly. But where did it all begin, I hear you ask? And that is a very good question that I, Henry Notle, will now endeavour to answer. Like many other festive traditions that we now embrace, Advent calendars began life in Germany in the year 1851. Earlier in the 19th century, it is known that German Protestant Christians started to mark Advent with the burning of candles, or by marking walls and doors with a line of chalk for each day. A new practice of hanging a devotional image each day ultimately led to the creation of the first calendar in 1851. It was handmade from wood. The first printed calendars appeared early in the 20th century, around 1906 or 1908. And then, in 1920, a man named Gerhard Lang introduced small doors to the calendar which could be opened every day. Therefore, it's Gerhard that we have to thank for the modern day phenomenon. During the Great Wars, there was a shortage of paper and card, and Mr. Hitler banned the production of Advent calendars, and that could have been the end of them. If it wasn't for a Mr. Richard Selmar who managed to gain a license to start producing calendars again. Then in the 1950s, somebody came up with the idea of placing a little chocolate behind every door, and suddenly the concept of the Advent calendar began to spread across the globe. And so it's from these humble beginnings that the Advent calendar has grown to be the international phenomenon that it is today, with a variety of surprises behind those tiny little doors. So there you have it, Henry's history of the Advent calendar. Now, if we were to delve a little deeper, the bigger question is, what even is Advent? Well, for this, we have to go way, way back, because the word Advent comes from a Latin word adventus, which means coming, and that is a translation of a Greek word, parousia. Scholars believe that in the 4th and 5th centuries in Spain, Advent was a period of preparation for baptism for new Christians, and this always happened in January at the Feast of Epiphany. So originally it had nothing to do with Christmas. By the 6th century, Roman Christians had tied this season of Advent to the coming of Christ. But the coming they had in mind was not his first coming in a manger in Bethlehem. No, it was his second coming at the end of the age when he would judge the world. And it wasn't until the Middle Ages that Advent was explicitly linked to the first coming of Christ at Christmas. Since that time, the Anglican Church in particular have celebrated the season of Advent with the lighting of 4 candles, and each candle carries a different theme. Firstly is hope in the promise that is to come. Second is preparation in the waiting for the promise. Third is joy and peace that can only be truly found in Jesus as Saviour. And fourth is love and adoration for who Jesus is and all that he has done for us. We may not like candles when we gather together. You may not even have a chocolate calendar to munch through over the next month. But this Advent season, more than ever, hold on to the hope that Jesus brings. Use this time to prepare yourself for what is coming. Allow the joy of the Lord to be your strength and live a life of love and devotion to Jesus, the Messiah that came to set us free.
Well, I thought that was really good. We've had such a good episode today with all the different things going off. We've just got a couple of updates before we finish. You've got an update, even though you're here. You've got you on video.
Filmed one earlier.
Yeah, yeah, we look like Blue Peter. So here's a quick video from David about the Christmas experience that's been going off in the Oaks this week.
Hi everyone, just wanted to give you a quick update on our Christmas experience we've been doing today. We've had our first morning of inviting the kids down from John Ford Junior School to come and learn all about the Christmas story. They've been watching a clip of the whole Christmas story and then going around a few of the stations in the room to explore the Christmas story from the perspective of all the characters involved, from Mary to the wise men to the shepherds, and the whole journey through the Christmas story. We've had a fantastic morning with the kids asking some really interesting questions and responding in different ways to hearing the story, the true meaning of Christmas. And I just wanted to thank all of our volunteers who came and served and engaged with the children this week. So a big thank you to you guys for making it happen. It's been a fantastic morning. We're looking forward to our time together tomorrow as well.
Thank you for that.
There you go.
Did you enjoy doing that awkward notice on film when I'm sticking a camera in your face? It's always great, isn't
we
it?
don't mind. We don't mind, really.
No, I will say that the hard work that's gone into setting up the stations and the relationships that have been built in the school and all that's gone on behind the scenes, this is just like a 2-day event, but it has taken a long time really in the planning.
A little while.
So well done for that, and well done to all the volunteers, because it couldn't basically run
not without them.
So
they did a fantastic job.
yeah, it looks like so much fun as well. I was a bit envious when I came down. I wanted to get involved with the sand and the different stations. We had the Tier Fund Big Quiz Night.
Yeah, last weekend, the weekend before.
Can't remember now.
Recently.
Good answer. We raised just over £300, so it was really
well.
good. So thank you to everyone who gave to that. That will get sent to Tier Fund. And what else do we have coming up?
Lots of Christmas events. We've got a few Impact Sundays, both here in Dronfield and Eckington.
Yes.
We've got a family breakfast with Nativity next week over in Eckington. But lots of things to check out.
So basically check out Church Suite and
Yes.
check your emails, because they're the best way for us to communicate what's going on within the church. And we have our Facebook group as well, Oaks Family Group it's called. If you're on Facebook, join that, because it just tells you what's going on, and there's lots of prayer requests and things like that for people to get involved in. Anything else? I don't think so. I
No,
think
it'll
we've
be on our
told you
website
everything.
and you'll be able to find it, hopefully.
Yeah, on the front page of the website, the calendar, so great place to start. Okay, well, it's bye from us for now. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Joy to the world, the Lord has come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare him room. And heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing. In heaven and heaven and nature sing. We will sing, sing, sing. Joy to the world. We will sing, sing, sing. Joy to the world, the Savior reigns. Your sweetest songs employ, while fields and streams and hills and plains repeat the sounding joy. the glories of His righteousness, in wonders of His love, in wonders of His love, in wonders, wonders of His love. We will sing, sing, sing. Joy to the world. We will sing, sing, sing. Yeah. Joyful, joyful, we adore Thee, God of glory, Lord of love. Hearts unfold like flowers before Thee, opening to the... Let's sing joyful together, sing it out. Joyful, joyful.